Dungeon Quest updated and introduced a new boss into the game in place of the old boss raids, and I couldn't be happier. Well, kinda. I wish they kept the old mode too, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. But this new boss is quite hard if you don't know how to fight him. So in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to solo him. By the end of this video, you'll be able to fight him and beat him with no problems. But first, here's a quick shout out to my members. Also, make sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description. Thanks, lads. You know that shirt looks good on you. Anyways. Okay, first things first. I'm going to be mainly talking about the tier 5 or the level 200 raid fight that players can do. If you're struggling with the tier 4 or under, you might be able to get some carries from a higher level player, or you could trade for some better gear in order to take those tiers down. It'll be easier for you since the 1st through 4th tiers are scaled for their specific dungeon, so on-level gear will work very well. The tier 5 boss, however, is scaled for the dungeon after yokai peaks, so it's a little bit of a challenge. Regardless, if you're still struggling, this video will help you with those tiers, even though it's mainly geared towards the tier 5 players. But anyways, let's talk about gear. Contrary to popular belief, you do not need full purple Akuma armor and a God Pot legendary to defeat this guy. In order to beat him, you're going to need green Akuma and a mid pot legendary. I used 319 million for my first win. On top of these, you're going to need 2 purple rings. They can be level 180 rings, but one of those rings has to have at least some decent HP regen. Next, you're going to need, at minimum, 12 billion health. Yeah, you heard me right. 12 billion health. Guardian rings will help with this, but you're going to need to use stat points to acquire this number. And third, you need to be able to do at least 30 quadrillion damage. 25 might work if you can't hit 30 quad. Okay, now that your setup is set up, see what I did there? Let's talk about his attacks and patterns. The Siege Goliath currently has 7 attacks. The laser line, the concussion attack, the minion spawn, the electric field, the flamethrower spin, the pull attack, and the mortar frenzy. When you start the raid, he will always start attacking with the mortar frenzy, then the laser line. For these 3 attacks at the very beginning, you can literally stand underneath him and walk behind him to dodge them without taking any damage. But as soon as he does the laser line, you need to move to the outside of the arena since he's going to be summoning bots. Then he will do the flamethrower attack, which will melt you since it does a lot of damage. It also inflicts anti-healing. Once he is done with that, then he will continue those attacks for a fair bit of time until roughly a third of the way into the fight, when he has about a third of his HP taken away, when he will start activating the electric field attacks. These attacks are wave-like lines that will melt your HP if you stand in them for too long. They also inflict anti-healing when you get hit by them. The attack pattern of these is pretty easy to dodge since you can see exactly where the next line is going to be simply by looking at the gaps between the rows of tiles. They will always be in between the tiles. Keep an eye out once he starts spawning these, however. After a few laser line attacks, he will activate his shield and will take reduced damage indefinitely. To drop this shield, you need to grab the orb that spawns underneath him when he starts his attack and to go to one of the 4 Tesla towers that spawns. Once you do that, he will be stunned, the tower you ran into will disappear, and his shield will be dropped, allowing you to do full damage once again. This will repeat until every single tower is destroyed, which will prevent the laser lines and the shield from activating for the rest of the fight. You've basically taken those attacks out of the fight indefinitely. And by the way, so on the topic of the minions he spawns, these are dangerous if you get caught by more than 3 of them, but for the most part, if you just ignore them and keep your distance from them, you'll be completely fine. Just remember that these guys inflict anti-healing on explosion. But anyways, once the towers are destroyed, attack him until you defeat him. Congrats! You beat the Siege Goliath all by yourself. Have a cookie. Now, the passive healing on top of the amount of HP you have should allow you to tank the majority of the attacks, but you should be limiting how much you get hit by anti-healing since that is the biggest danger here. So the attacks you should be dodging as kind of a priority 1 avoid are the robots, the flamethrower, and the laser lines. Every other attack does multiple ticks of damage, or does a singular tick of damage, or does only 2 ticks of damage, but none of those other attacks do anti-healing. So as long as you don't get hit by like more than 5 ticks or something like that, you could literally just completely ignore those and be fine. Okay, let's go do a run to show this entire strat solo. But if this video has helped you out, then make sure to like it and subscribe for more. All right, let's do it. All right, boys, here we are. Also, aura update. Let's go. It's actually kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and do it. In case you guys are wondering what my gear setup is, this is my helmet. This is my armor. This is my rifle. This is my gun. Okay, anyways, here's my first ring. Here's my second ring, which I'm actually going to replace the second ring. I think the second one. I'm going to replace it with my 180 ring. And, yeah, boys. So it's completely okay to use a level 180 ring, especially with this amount of HP regen. That's a lot of HP regen, is what I'm trying to say. So I am going to put 105 points into stamina, which that'll put me about 12 billion HP. Reduce damage reduction and HP increase. 13 billion. That's quite nice. So I'm just going to use the other 110 into physical power. And also damage check. Yeah, buddy. I'm going to try giving some tips as much as I possibly can in this raid while I'm doing this. We'll see how it goes. Commentary is going to be scuffed, and I can tell you, like, after the shield attack is down, it's basically just going to be a slugfest for the rest of the fight. So I'll probably just skip through the raid until the end at that point. So anyways, start the raid. Stand in the very center, right underneath. Make sure to stand like right underneath, bro, so you don't necessarily take too much damage. There is that one attack that spawns, but it's all right. Just tank it. All right, he's gonna do the line. All right, now we're gonna move out to the edge because he's gonna summon the goons. Now, as I talked about, these guys aren't necessarily something to worry about too much. And that line attack right there, which I know I actually completely forgot to explain, that is the pull attack. If you get hit by that, he pulls you right into the center and then immediately does the flamethrower attack. So make sure to not get smacked by this. Here's a laser line attack. As I said, you can tank these ones pretty well. Just don't get hit by the laser lines because those do a lot of damage. The mortar attack is pretty easy to dodge. You just gotta stand in between the circles. A good rule of thumb for mobility, if you're dealing with the laser line attack, is kind of going in a box, like around here. You can kind of see it. It's like a box in the center here. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's just a box. All right, I'm a little bit lower on HP. Thankfully, anti-healing isn't that big of a deal. Ow. All right, so yeah, very easy to dodge. So anyways, boys, I'll see you back here in a moment once we get to the shield attack. Okay. Shield attack. There's going to be a blue orb that spawns underneath him, and if I recall correctly, there's only one player that can see this. If it is you, please, please, please go and grab it. You also don't have to get, like, really, really, really close to the tower in order for it to activate and hit the Goliath. You just have to get kind of close to the tower. And as you can see, now there's only 3 towers, which is nice. Something I may have forgot to bring up is that as soon as he is unstunned, he will start to use the pull attack and also the flamethrower attack right away, and then immediately he brings his shield back up. So don't get tripped up by that. We're gonna go to this one now. If you're using Blade Barrage, which I highly recommend you use Blade Barrage as opposed to something like Kunai Throw or Kunai Throw, something like that. Just because of the fact that not only 1 range, but also 2 AoE. Kunai Throw also doesn't do as much damage as what Blade Barrage does. So, Guild Disguise spells are still meta, which is kind of crazy. At least for Warrior. For Mage, please use Void Beam. But if you use Blade Barrage, you can actually kind of clip the minions inside of the hitbox with no problems. Just be careful. And don't, like, focus on them, if that makes sense. But yeah, don't let the minions pressure you into goofing up. Just keep it cool, and you got it. But yeah, even if he has his shield up, though, you should be attacking him. All right, boys. I will see you at the end of the raid, because this is going to be kind of a slugfest. All right, boys, about 3 cycles left, and we win. I mean, there's nothing else to it. You can also stand basically right underneath the Goliath for the global attacks and everything. Quite nice. Oh, wait a minute. I just got a cosmetic. Yo, dude, wait. Hey, that's cool. But yeah, dude. Now, if you got really good at dodging, you could definitely do this as a glass cannon, which will speed this up tremendously. But for all you people out there that have major skill issue, this strat will work just fine. By the way, if you haven't seen my Road and Defeat video yet, then make sure to go watch that by clicking on it right here. It's a good video to watch, so go watch it. Dismissed?